back, everybody. Harry P with the Driftless Homestead. Hey, so you're out in the woods on your land, out in the public forest, that you own with your tax dollars. You were driving down the road and saw a dead elm tree, whatever. You were in a public park, found some morels. Now what do? A lot of people don't find very many of them. They cook them up and that's it. I like to preserve mine and use them sparingly throughout the year because they are a delicacy. And I think when you go around YouTube or wherever, you'll see that people, everybody has a different idea of how to prepare them. Everybody has a different idea of how to store them so that they last. What I do, I would suggest that you do with a lot of other things in your life. So I bought myself one of these under the bed storage boxes. In there I have these small fans that college kids use, and you can buy these on sale in the summertime after back to school for like dirt cheap. I've got 6 of them in this box. I know I've purchased more than that in the past. Then I have these sheets. I believe these were for some type of croquet project or some type of knitting project. And then the other thing I buy is I buy these cooling racks. I buy these cooling racks in December, January, because usually after baking season the stores don't want to carry them anymore, so they clearance them out and you can pick them up really cheap. So what do I do with the morels? I use these because the holes are really small, and when you start to have small morels and the pieces are breaking off, I'll put this on top of there. I've tried to dry morels in a dehydrator, which was kind of a disaster because it kind of cooked the morels and they were very hard and they didn't rehydrate well. Just like when I take care of my shiitake mushrooms, I found the best method to be just airflow. No heat, just airflow, and they'll dry out really quick. The morels will dry out in 24 hours by just using these little fans. So that's what I use. So how do I prepare them? I personally tend to, it's possible to overhandle them, so I try not to do that. So when it comes to cleaning morels and storing morels, some people will freeze them. Some people soak them in salt water to get the bugs off, which after you see what I'm doing here, you'll see that that doesn't work really well. And then some people bread them and then freeze them. It's all your choice. So do what you may with them. So I'm going to show you what I do, and I keep them for years. I still have some from a couple years ago in a quart mason jar on top of my refrigerator that I enjoy once in a while. So here is what I found in an hour. All of these. So first thing we do is we get them out. You don't have to, I just get the large debris off. So another benefit to not trying to wash these or soak these, they're very delicate. Pieces break off when you're doing that. So what I do is I simply cut them in half, and sometimes you'll get bugs running out of them like crazy. So just cut it in half like that, and then I take it and put it on my cookie drying sheet and I dry it. Later, when you put the morels away for long-term storage, you can take a chip brush or a paint brush. Sometimes people have them in their kitchen for pasta makers or whatever. Then you can brush the dirt off and the debris off, because then the mushroom's very hard and it can take the brushing. If you do anything like that now, they're just going to fall apart. So this one here I want to get to right away because there's a little bit of dirt on there. There's also a little bit of mold on there. So just cut that off because you don't want to eat it. And then simply slice it down the middle. You see there's some ants in there. We'll leave those guys alone. They're not hurting nothing right now. So all I'm doing on this first step is cut them in half. I cut any mold I find off. I also cut any dirt that I have found off on there. This one's going to be full of stuff. Now it's got some dirt in there. Kind of makes you wonder how you get dirt in there. And you know, it's amazing how much water is contained in these as well. You look at the size of some of these, and once they dry out, you'll see that they're not near as big, you know, like less than 1/10 the size that they are right now. If you guys have hunting land or recreational property that you own, you know, I would suggest getting out there and using it at different times a year, learning a few different mushrooms and a few different things you can forage for, because it's out there. And it's out there for you to use. You pay good money for the property, you might as well, or maybe you have a friend who has property and he's not using it, he or she. Trying to be sexist there. There's a big benefit to being able to go out and share this type of thing. So as you're learning about wild foraging and finding mushrooms and stuff, there is a couple of great YouTube channels out there. The one for just foraging and identifying trees and everything, I would say it's Adam Harrington, Learn Your Land. He does a lot of mushrooms too. He also does a lot of just other wild plants, medicinal plants and stuff like that. Yeah, so he's a great one to learn from. More mushroom stuff, I would say Yellow Eleanor is her name. She spends a lot of time out in the woods, and she identifies mushrooms. She's in the Pacific Northwest, so it's a different, some of the mushrooms, they have morels there, but then some of the mushrooms they have are different than we would find here. And then another one from Minnesota, these people, when you watch it, you may not think they have a bunch of knowledge, but they do, and it's the Mushroom Club. And it's a man and a woman, and they're out hunting mushrooms, and they hunt mushrooms just about all year, and I can't believe how many mushrooms they find and how much knowledge they have when you watch it, the whole show. So we're just going to keep working our way through, splitting these in half. And you'll see there's a lot of pieces coming off of them. That's what I was telling you. They're kind of delicate. That's why I don't do anything with them at this stage. You know, I get them dry, and then you can handle them a lot more once they're dry. This one I'm going to go in quarters because it was bent over. I don't know if it was going to pop up or didn't pop up or what. So... but it had been creased over, so it'll kind of hamper it from drying out nice. Boy, these are great mushrooms. I can't tell you that enough. So we were down in the valley, which is a little colder than you would find on the ridge or a south-facing ridge, which means that these yellow ones were probably out last week there, and we didn't have that angle to the sun to find them. That's why we didn't We only found the gray ones there last week, which are the ones that come out first. There's a little bit of mold on this one, so I'll cut it in half first. Then I'll cut this mold off, which is no big deal. Kind of like cheese. And let it get moldy and then just cut it off. It's also why I like to use the basket versus always using the net bags, because in the net bags a lot of the mushrooms come apart in the net bags themselves. So by using the baskets, and it's, you know, like I said in the other video, you know, I use the basket when I'm going mushroom picking, and I use the bag I'll carry in my pocket when I'm just mushroom hunting, you know, to see where we are. You know, if I'm finding morels, you know, I'll go get my basket. You know, so I don't lose half of them in the woods because they're jostling them around. So I just lay everything on these wire drying racks. The aroma they have is kind of interesting. It's kind of a nutty aroma. There was one gentleman who used to live up here, and his daughter could smell them when they went looking. And that would be quite beneficial, you know, if you had like a morel dog or something. Okay. That's all that. This is all the junk that I've trimmed off of them here, which isn't very much. Most of it's dirt. So let me get you a closer look at the morels themselves. So that is what we found. It's an okay little bunch. It's nothing that I would ever think about selling. You know, if you went to the Morel Mushroom Festival, you would be shocked at how much people bring in, and I don't know how they have the energy, because it's a lot of work walking up and down those hills trying to do it, or they just do what I did and they find the trees first and then later go search for the morels. So it's as easy as that's the prep work. And now I just usually take 2 fans and then set 2 fans up, and just the wind on its own will dry them out. Like I said, usually in 24 hours. If you're doing this, you know, you can come back and check on them, and then maybe turn them over, which will help consolidate them, move them around a little bit. Record. Yeah, I think most of these fans I pick up for, you know, $5. You know, you might be able to find them cheaper, but like I said, it's usually after the college kids go back to school, and you'll find them in the clearance section in your stores. So that's it. Just put it blowing down. So I'd say, you know, get out there and see if you can find yourself some. They're not that hard to do. You know, it's a good exercise to get out and go in the woods and find things. Who knows, you might find some deer shed antlers and you know, different types of mushrooms at different types of year. Which last year I was fortunate enough to find some sulfur mushrooms, some chicken of the woods mushrooms, and then a few weeks later, closer to fall, I found some hen of the woods mushrooms, and that's like a huge medicinal mushroom, you know, and they're very tasty. I probably eat hen of the woods mushrooms 4 to 5 nights a week, for the medicinal qualities on that, along with the shiitakes for medicinal qualities. But you know what, medicinal qualities. But ran out of shiitakes early last year. This year I've got 200 logs that I'm going to be fruiting, and I've got another 75 logs that I'm going to be plugging, and increase the production on those too. And what's nice about the shiitakes is if you sun dry them, so lay them out in the sun, they're kind of like our skin where they'll produce vitamin D. So you can enrich them with the vitamin D naturally from the sun. And then when you dry them, you lock it in there, and then you can have that free and also natural vitamin D all winter long, you know, when you're cooped up in the house and not getting as much vitamin D from the sun. So that's that. If you like this kind of stuff and you like what you're seeing on the channel, please give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, maybe point one of your friends over, and talk to them about you know, the mushrooms or whatever else we're finding or preparing, you know, to see how we do it. And please, in the comments down below, tell me what you do and why you do it. It's kind of interesting that we could share that back and forth with everybody else watching as well. So thanks for showing up, and have a great day.